What up, guys? Got an instant book review for Never Split the Difference. Negotiating as if your life depended on it by Voss. I had this on the iPad because this was actually a book I just completed for the second time from Audible. Wanted to make sure that I'm doing books that I listen to also because Audible's been one of the best things I've ever discovered over the last couple of years. I would highly recommend it to anybody that likes to read. It just makes consuming a book so much easier or complementary to actually reading because sometimes you can't be holding the book and reading, but you can listen while you're doing other things. So this book is awesome. I really loved it. Voss was the lead negotiator for the FBI. So he's pretty much telling stories about different hostage negotiations that he was a part of. And he's explaining like the strategy behind the stuff that they did in order to get hostages out of critical situations. So it's really cool. He talks about a bunch of different things. He talks about like anchoring, which we're all familiar with as far as like submitting like a crazy lowball offer, but he'll explain why not only is it sometimes important to do that, but he'll talk about ways that you can use language in order to create the proper expectation for your counterpart so that when you come in with that extreme anchor, which to them might be a really low ball offer, they're like mentally ready to hear it, and they actually are going to be more receptive to it than if you just did it without using the proper kinds of language. So he goes through a bunch of different things like that. I think one of my favorites is he calls getting somebody to say, "That's right." And he just talks about how if you're trying to prove a point and somebody says, you're right, it usually means they're trying to get you to shut up because they're just saying like, okay, you're right. But if you can show them using what he calls tactical empathy, that you totally understand where they're coming from and how they're feeling, then you can get them to say, or then you'll get them to say, that's right, or like, that's exactly it, or you hit the nail on the head. And then kind of their guard comes down, and now they'll actually be receptive to what you're trying to get them to do. So it's really interesting. You should definitely read this if you're interested in any kind of negotiation tactics. It's really cool. I mean, he'll explain like the psychology and linguistics, and then he'll relate them to like real life practical examples, like lowering your rent, getting a raise, buying a car. And like, unfortunately, there's not just one way to do all those things, but you know, if you're paying attention to the book, you'll be able to pick up different concepts to apply, when you identify that it's a good time to use them in your life. So it's really cool. If you guys have read or listened to this, definitely, I would love to hear what you think. Hit me in the comments. Anything that stood out to you that you liked or didn't like. Otherwise, I would definitely recommend it. It's a really cool read or listen. And otherwise, please hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.